Now then, finding out about your family's history can be something of interest. When our next guests, Vanna and Donna Johnson, wanted to learn more about their heritage, they bought a home-testing DNA kit.
However, when the results came back, they were shocked to learn that their 13-year-old son wasn't Vanna's biological child.
In fact, his DNA matched a man called Devin McNeil, someone they didn't know and had never met before. So in just a moment, we're going to be talking to Devin and his wife, Kelly. First, though, let's speak to Vanna and Donna. So good morning to both of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today. So you naturally conceived your first birthday in 2005, struggled for your second one. You began IVF in February 2007. The second cycle worked. You were very cautious about the success, but absolutely overjoyed when Tim arrived.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. He was a delightful baby. Well, he was a cranky baby, but we were so happy to have him.
Yeah, he was your little miracle, really. So, I mean, naturally, whenever you have children, you compare one baby to the others. They grow up, they may look similar. Vanna Jr. is your eldest. What were they like? Were they quite different?
Yeah, quite a bit, actually. Vanna was more the intellectual. Tim was always the little boy that picked up a ball. And Donna read with both of them, but Tim would push her or push the book away, and Vanna just ate him up. So quite different.
Very so Tim very sporty. We can see a sort of difference in looks, though, but that can happen within family. So nothing there really to make you suspicious that there might be anything other than the fact that you've got two lovely sons. So there you go. Tim is about to turn 11, and you decide that you're going to do a DNA test. It's massive now, sort of the heritage type of thing, genealogy. Is that why you wanted to do it?
Absolutely. We were just curious about ourselves and some of the DNA, and also it was kind of fun to see what genes you inherit from your parents, and we thought it'd be fun for our boys to see that as well.
So, Vanna, when you opened your letter that you got back with the results, having done this test, and you saw there that under Tim's biological father, it said unknown, how did you feel?
Yeah. Initially, I thought there must be a mistake. I got my results first with Tim's, and Donna was waiting for hers with Vanna, and that's kind of what I put in the back of my mind. Sure, it was there, and I was cautious, but I thought there's a mistake, and then we confirmed later, and it was hard. It was real hard.
I mean, I've got to ask the question, because there'll be a lot of people thinking it, that when you get a letter, you do your DNA and you get your letter, and then you find out actually that I'm not the father of my son, of Tim. Did you look at Donna and think, what have you been doing?
You know, actually, I didn't. I would say that passively, just throughout the weeks and months ahead, that probably entered my mind, but more as like a joke to myself. But, and we had known that we'd done IVF and knew there must have been a mistake.
So there is a lot of emotions to process and go through and repackage. Yes. And it took you a while to speak to him. I think the best part of a year, really, to kind of process in your head what's happened, and then obviously to talk to him about it. And that must have been a really difficult conversation to have. What was his reaction?
Yeah, it was really sweet. He reacted like I had hoped. He and I had always had a good relationship, and when I talked to him and just matter-of-factly just kind of told him what we found out, he looked forward out of the vehicle because we were driving, and he kind of said, looked at me and then said, really? And I said, yeah. And then he said, well, you're still my dad, you know, and that was really, really cool.
Absolutely, quite right.
And so, lots of emotions there, and you quickly come to the conclusion that it's going to be the clinic that looks like it's messed up here. And then you've got to try and track down the biological father. How did you go about doing that?
We did another DNA test, actually, hoping that we'd get a closer relation, because we did find like a third cousin on the first one, and we got pretty good at sleuthing up a line and then trying to come back down, but never connected. But when we did the second one, we got a really close relationship, and it ended up being Devin's sister.
Yes, that's right. And so, Devin and Kelly, let's bring you in now, because this is where you come into this story. So you've got 3 children. Your firstborn was born through IVF. The second and your third you had naturally. So out of the blue, really, you get this phone call explaining that they think you, Devin, are the biological father of this boy. How do you even get your head around something like that?
I don't know that you do initially. That's not a call that you expect. So I didn't really believe that it was a true that he was telling me the truth in the beginning. So it took multiple conversations and a little bit of investigating before we believed and confirmed that it was real.
I suppose also that the thought is, because you're now narrowing it right down to this IVF clinic and the fact that you had been there at the same time as Donna and Vanna, and so now you've got your son, Talon, who's 13, is the same age as Tim. So this has all happened at about the same time for this mix-up to have happened. Did you think, oh, my God, you know, maybe I'm not the father of Talon?
So the thought did cross our minds, but we decided to take a test for Talon as well, just to confirm it. But despite, you know, he had a lot of genetic traits from both of us, and so we thought maybe no, but yes, could something have happened? But we did confirm that there was only a mix-up on one side.
Yeah. So you've both been very open with your children and with your families, and then you make the decision after lots of correspondence between the two of you and actually a friendship blossoming to meet. So what was that moment, Devin, for you when in walks this son that biologically is your son?
You know, it was actually a really great meeting. We had the chance to travel to the state where they live, where we used to live. And we prepared ourselves and had a lot of discussions and traded a lot of pictures and stories. And Tim had a list of questions for me. It was a great meeting. We played soccer together. We had lunch. We just talked. And the kids got to play at the park.
What were his list of questions? What did he want to know?
So some of them were typical 13-year-old boy questions, like, you know, how tall were you when you were my age? And did you have braces? And what allergies did you have? And how fast can you type on the computer? Who's your favorite athlete? Some things like that. So they're very innocent, but he just really wanted to know about me, maybe that it would shed some light on some of the things that he'd experienced in his life.
And I mean, what's fantastic actually is this situation could have had a completely different ending. I mean, the impact of finding out something on this could be hugely destructive for a lot of families. In both of your situations, that hasn't been the case. But this is something that you feel very strongly about, and you want to make sure that something like this never happens again because of the effect that this could have on someone. Donna, what is it that you sort of are hoping to achieve?
Well, we hope that people will be able to know that this can happen and that they need to ask more questions, and there needs to be more regulation. There needs to be more protection of families, and that they shouldn't fear this. And
so I mean, it is in your minds pretty clear here, because you're now obviously you've gone legal, that the sperm got mixed up, and this is how it happened. We've contacted the clinic, who say fairly genetically and generically, although we cannot comment on patient cases without consent, nor can we comment on cases where there is ongoing litigation. The safety and care of our patients is our primary goal. If patients come to us with questions or concerns about their care, we evaluate our procedures and, if necessary, make changes to prevent harm from happening to other patients. Our providers and staff strive to provide excellent care, and we constantly work to make improvements. Is that you know, any good to you?
It's very generic, and we've heard that statement actually multiple times. And we do hope that this is a very rare situation, but we honestly don't know either, because ours was unknown, and it's unknown in the statistics. How many of our cases are out there?
Yeah, for sure. Will you send our love to both of your families, and thank you for taking the time and telling us your story today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.